This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1187, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is stressed out Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And that's all. Marty was supposed to be on today's show, and he had baby sleep troubles, so he overslept.
His baby didn't want him to be on the show, so he stayed up all night long.
Baby sleep troubles.
Baby sabotaged Marty from joining us, and Derek is out of town today. So,
do y'all miss the sleep deprivation from being new parents?
I have no recollection of it.
That was by far the most challenging part, because if you're not getting sleep, like nothing functions well. You know, it's really a psychological sort of torture game. But no, I don't miss that at all.
I really don't remember it. Like,
I hope that's comforting for new parents who are feeling like Marty right now, hearing from two fathers that one day you either won't remember this or it will be the worst time of your life. That's really the either options.
The memories for me kicked in when he turned like 3. Like, it's like now
so you
he's
don't
like,
remember the first 3 years.
I mean, it's just a potato laying there for like most of it. Like, you're just like, what do you do with this potato? It's not fun. And then like all of a sudden he's like 2 or 3 and like, hey, he wants to go play mini golf. Let's go. Let's do it.
The good news is he doesn't remember either.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
It's fine.
Win-win.
Yeah. Well, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, we talk to David Kushner. He is a singer-songwriter that has absolutely blown up over the last couple of years. I mean, billions and billions of streams. We talked to him. Surprising faith story, part of that. At the end of the show, we have part 2 of the Relevant Podcast Olympics. If you heard last week's show, Jesse wasn't on it. We had Marty and Derek going mano a mano in a showdown for the Relevant Podcast Olympics glory. This week, we are doing Emily versus Jesse to mix things up. Also, good. Jesse, you should know, when you're not around, things go deeply sideways because
in a good way or a bad way?
A horrible way. The entire first round of the competition was highly disputed. Okay. Sometimes you have to throw it to the judges. The judges threw up their hands. They had no idea what to do with this mess. Turns out we had like a competition, a speed competition, where I threw out a question and they had to look up on the internet using the speed of their fingers, the correct answers. And after a few seconds, somebody would say the answer and I'd say, no, that's wrong. And then the other person would say a different answer. No, that's wrong. And it turned out that my answer key, which was prepared by one downtown Emily Brown, was completely wrong on all of the questions. And so they were finding factual correct answers. I had the wrong key. So anyway, they lost all of them, but they should have maybe won them. I don't know. Emily, do you want to clarify or defend yourself?
I would love to object to every word you just said. So I was right the whole time. The thing about the internet is that depending on what you search, you'll get a different answer because, as we know, the internet kind of lies to us.
Is that how it works?
That's how it was intentionally designed. Whatever you want is what the internet tells you. No, I looked up all of these answers and I found the correct answer, but they were going to different websites. And the reason the judges threw their hands up is because I didn't think I was going to have to defend something as simple as what is the 17th highest grossed movie of all time. But apparently that is highly disputed on the internet. And so
depending
everyone kept
on, are we talking
inflation or
inflation or adjusted? Are we talking gross ticket sales?
Did you look on Wikipedia? Are you looking on IMDb? All these different things. So I was not prepared for that. So I do want to clarify. I was always right. I was never wrong. Just the internet was wrong. So that's actually the record I do want to put out there. Emily is right. The internet is wrong. Please spread the gospel truth, Relevant Podcast listeners. Thank you.
I feel like that's a good thing to keep in mind. Emily, right? Internet wrong.
Yeah.
I know we were going to talk about the Olympics here, but can I do a quick pivot? We didn't discuss this, and I try not to get political on this podcast, but there's a scandal that I need to address.
Oh, God, I'm terrified, but yeah.
I was veering you heavily toward our predetermined. I want to talk about the Olympics.
I know, but
I was just giving you a softball.
I know.
And you
I
said,
know.
you know what? I'm waving it off.
Well, he was inspired by my
I'm
scandal.
at the line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage, and scandal came up, and I'm looking at the coverage, and I'm like, all right, we got to switch. We're talking scandals. All right. I know we're all, we're entering an election year, and we're in a time in American history where, it is the internet runs on political scandal, but it takes a pretty high bar these days. And to like, for a scandal to actually move the needle, like a politician has to do something. Either it can't even just be really bad, because I feel like, listen, we've had a couple candidates that have had some colorful personal lives. OK, like the bar for newsworthy things that you've done in your past that is actually going to sway voters is insanely high. It is like, you've had to really do something. Did you guys see the RFK story that, as we're recording, it kind of came out this morning, but I'm sure more people will be aware of it?
No, I've been focused on work this morning and looking out my window at the hurricane that is blowing around outside, and I'm just hoping that my power stays on. So, no, I haven't been on the news sites. What's going on with RFK? Or I was trying to do an RFK.
RFK. He's running for he's vying for a long shot third party candidacy. Okay?
He has less than 1%.
and evidently he heard that the New Yorker was about to release a very salacious story, and he decided he was going to get ahead of it by having a sit down like podcast talk and release a series of TikTok videos, basically admitting to this scandal before with oddly Roseanne Barr, for some reason, the comedian, before the New Yorker piece came out.
He's been open about the fact that he has had a very salacious past and has done a lot of bad things. And he's like, nothing
that he would prepare you for this scandal. Let me say that. Okay?
Well, I mean, he's talked about the women and the divorces and the cheating and all the stuff that used to get politicians canceled.
Now
they wouldn't even run because they had skeletons in their closet.
Now you expect those kinds of skeletons. You do not
2015
expect
changed
kind.
Things. Okay,
you do
tell
not
me
expect
what's going
this
on.
Kind, which is a wild bear skeleton. The skeleton of a grizzly bear that is in his closet, or in this case, the trunk of his car. Okay. So I actually remember, I remember, so there was a story that made the rounds like 10 years ago. And Emily and I in particular, because of looking for content, kind of quick, weird news of the day stories, are probably particularly attuned when these stories come up. About 10 years ago, there was a story that made headlines, made national news for about a day, that in Central Park, they had found the body of a large bear. Okay. This is in Manhattan, Central Park, and someone had planted it in a bike path and staged it to look as if it had been run over by a cyclist in Central Park. And it was this just bizarre news story, like, who would possibly do such a thing? And what would the motivation for such a crime be? Okay.
And how can you get it there without being seen? You're in the middle of New York City.
Yeah.
There was someone tweeting this morning, like they were screenshotting tweets from 2014 saying, who the heck would have left a bear in the middle of Central Park? Like those are tweets from 2014. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now have the answer of who was behind this national story. It was RFK who left the body of the dead bear in Central Park and staged it to look as if a Central Park cyclist had run it over. So the story is and again, this is his recounting this scandal, which in a million years, if you were to guess at the time, who is behind putting this body of a dead bear? Robert Kennedy Jr., and he will confess to this as he's running for the president of the United States. I love this era of the internet we're in. So according to him, he's on a falconry trip in the Hudson Valley. He's a big falconry guy.
Sure.
Wait. Falconry
in my experience, my sole experience with falconry is medieval times, where there's a guy who trains the falcon. He has the big glove on. The falcon does some tricks for you. You can take a picture with the falcon in the lobby after the show. What is a falconry trip? Are you taking falcons with you to go hunting, or are you catching them in the wild?
He's with his like a falconry club. Okay. So, and he's with people that are doing falconry, and he as he says in the video, it was a great day. It was a great day of falconry.
So you put them loose and they go and catch little rabbits and bring them back to you or something?
Yeah. I don't, I mean, there's a whole nother story we could dig into there.
Like, what's a falconry trip with your buddies? Yeah.
But I guess as he's going from one falconry location to another during this great day of falconry, he comes across the carcass of a bear that had just been hit by a car. And he decides, you know what? It would be awesome to have a bearskin rug. I'm going to take this bear carcass, put it in my car, and I'm going to later skin it. And he claims fill his refrigerator with wild bear meat. Okay. So he gets the roadkill bear, loads it in his car, goes to the next falcon. He says it is legal. He says there are roadkill bear tags, which he says he planned on obtaining, but he loads it in his car, goes to he says the falconry, everyone's having such a good time. The day kind of got away from him. Okay. Meanwhile, he's got the bear cooking in the trunk. Okay. This is his recounting of the story. He said it was such a good day of falconry that he looked at his watch and realized he had a big dinner planned at a very fancy Manhattan steakhouse. Peter Luger's, I think.
I've been there. Yeah.
He said, oh no, I have to be at Peter Luger's soon. So he got in the car and he races from the Hudson Valley to Peter Luger's to meet friends at this fancy steakhouse.
We're talking 2 to 3 hour drive. Yeah.
With the body of a dead bear in the trunk.
Rotting bear in your trunk. Yes.
So he gets there, and according to him, things get the wine starts flowing, looks down at the clock. Oh man, I've been at Peter Luger's way too long. And he realizes he has to be at the airport early that morning. So they had ended up staying all night. And so he starts panicking. I can't go to JFK and leave the bear there for a week. Someone will know. So he's at Peter Luger's. He looks at the clock. Who among us hasn't had a falconry day just totally get away from us?
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there with his dinner mates, and he's like, guys, I got to get to the airport soon. I got a very early flight. We've been here enjoying our evening. What are we going to do about this bear? And one of them says, listen, essentially he alludes to the fact that him and his friends made some sort of blood oath, and they decided we will drive to Central Park in the middle of the night and stage the bear to make it look as if a cyclist hit it, and then just catch your flight. No one will ever know. He says he gets to the airport right after planning the bear, and he looks up at the news, and it is national news. Like, bear, someone has staged the carcass of a bear in Central Park.
They knew immediately that it wasn't an actual kill. They knew it was staged.
One, they have a pretty good eye on the animals in Central Park. They know there's not a massive bear running around. Two, it was clear been hit by a car, not a bicycle, even though someone laid it in the bicycle path. Okay, this was clearly staged. And he was like, I knew this could be bad because they said they were bringing it in for fingerprints. They were going to try to fingerprint the bear carcass to try to find out who did it.
I've watched enough CSI New York to know that fur does not transmit fingerprints.
He knew he made a huge mistake, and he's waited 10 years to get this off his chest. And it is my favorite political scandal I've ever heard. Just a day of falconry, a lovely dinner at a very high-end steakhouse, and a blood oath over like a bottle of wine to never tell about this staged bear in Central Park.
RFK is like Buddy the Elf with his brother Michael. Like going out in Central Park to get the Christmas tree for the family. He got in over his head. He didn't know. It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. Yeah, I like it.
Out of all, again, like, I'm not making political commentary here. I'm just saying, as far as scandals go,
it's a fun one.
And I'll be honest, I haven't really studied his policies that much. Okay.
Shows a little gumption, problem solving. I like the leadership.
On the merits of the scandal alone.
Yeah, I like it.
If it were just lining up candidates based on their reaction to an insane scandal, he'd probably get my vote. Because if he can, Because 10 years have gone by, and it was the perfect crime. He got away with it. If someone
how did the New Yorker find out?
I don't know. I mean, the presumption
Someone from
is
the Blood Oath talked.
Yeah, someone in the social circle at Peter Luger's that night decided that it was time to tell a juicy story.
Why? What's in it for them? I don't see that.
And did they really think this is what was going to bring down his candidacy?
He has less than 1% anyway. Leave it well enough alone.
And like I said, it kind of makes him more likable, to be honest. It just does. It just makes me like him more. The falconry, the fact that he loaded a dead bear in the trunk of his car with the intent of skinning it for his own rug. Just the kind of guy I think I'd like to spend a day with, even if I wouldn't vote for.
How much do black bears weigh? I'm thinking of getting into their car between 130 and 660 pounds. That's a pretty big range.
I hope it was a big one.
Well, to be fair, have you seen him shirtless?
No.
Google RFK shirtless. Just trust me.
Well, is this going to throw off my purity filters?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just Google RFK shirtless and hit image share.
Yeah, Emily, do not Google RFK shirtless.
I've already seen it.
Oh, okay. Well,
this is a man that would have no problem hoisting a bear into the back of the
Zero
truck.
problem. This man is.
I'm so glad you brought this up, Jesse, because I remember this story 10 years ago about the bear in Central Park and just, whatever. But I remembered it because I saw it this morning because I saw someone who had tweeted 10 years ago about who would put a bear in Central Park. They retweeted it and said, I would have never guessed how this story ended, but they didn't include anything about how the story ended. So I saw it and I thought, okay, I need to look into this. Cause what is this happening about? So the fact that it was RFK, this is incredible. Yeah, I love a good scandal. Yeah. I like a low stakes scandal. No one's actually, other than the bear, R.I.P. But
died.
It was already dead. Okay.
So he says we already know he's a liar. Okay.
So
he's been pretty honest about everything else at this point.
So Cameron, in your version of the story, he comes back from dinner at Peter Luger's. He goes to the car and realizes the bear's just been dazed and is lying in wait, angry in the back of the car.
We both saw Tommy Boy where the deer wakes up in the back seat.
So in your version of the story, he fights the bear to the death in the middle of the night while hopped up on port wine and a 14-ounce T-bone. Again, if that was the case, I'd like him even more.
I do want to see if this actually boosts his support.
So Cameron, in
he's
your
going to go from
making,
1 to 3% because of this story.
In Cameron's making, he returns to the parking garage after the dinner, having totally forgotten about the bear, only to realize it is actually alive, and he has no choice.
He's greeted by the bear,
to fight it to the death in a hand-to-hand combat match in the upper levels of a Manhattan parking garage.
No, I think he parked on the street. There's that street that cuts through Central Park. I think he parked there because the Peter Luger's lot was full, so he had to park. And so they had to fight in Central Park. I think the bear just laid where the battle ended. I don't think he dragged it anywhere.
And then he just drove to the airport to catch a flight.
He's just out of here.
Either way, I like it better. I like him more.
That's true. He's peaked at 2.1% right now.
I didn't mean to get all political this morning, but here we are.
All right. Well, moving the show along, we've got a good one coming up. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's Slices. Listening to Michelle. The song is Mentos and Coke. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow, available now wherever books are sold. All right, it's time for
Slices.
What do you have, Jesse?
All right. Well,
I feel like we're halfway into slices at this point.
yeah, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if that was a slice, the bear in Central Park like 10 years ago on
Yeah, for real.
And we finally finished the slice.
Finally finished the story. It's great.
Okay, so I'll keep this short. A patent was recently discovered by Ford that Ford Motor Company had filed, and it's for technology that if it essentially takes photos of other cars on the road that the car perceives to be exceeding the speed limit. It can then report those cars to local law enforcement. Mm-mm. So basically, you're making every Ford a big tattle-tale out there.
Big narc.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Love it.
Okay. Ford makes the Mustang. All right. It's a car that is
Shelby,
made to break the speed limit.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is if we're going to go this far, speedometers go up. A lot of car speedometers, even just on like your average car, go well over 100 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
What is the point of being that functionality if we're going to have other cars rat you out if you exceed it? I think it's the lamest. It makes Ford automatically seem like the lamest car brand out there.
Yes.
You know, like especially for like their muscle cars and stuff. Like, give me a break. You know, they have a Ford GT. But my other thing, too, is like cars are just getting, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, just about all manner of technology. It's too smart. Me and my buddy had an idea for a car the other day. Have I ever told you this?
If you just had it the other day, no.
Okay. It's because we're talking about smart cars and how you basically can't work on them, right? Like if something happens to your Tesla and you pop the hood, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like
the hood is, you can't pop the hood. It's another trunk. It's just two trunks.
It's a big problem. Big problem. Because you don't got a hood.
There's no engine, dude. Literally, there's no engine at all. Like literally, there's a battery on the bottom and it turns wheels. There's no engine. We were
reminiscing about the days. But even if you were to buy a non-electric vehicle, all the cars are so complicated now. And there's so much additional functionality, you know, and little widgets and stuff that the average person can't just, you know,
fix their
get
car.
under the hood and fix it. So we had an idea. Not a smart car. It's a dumb car for smart people. The car has no electronics. Even you roll the window down by hand crank. You strip down every piece of electronic or circuitry that could possibly break and only have parts that a person could fix. Dumb car for smart people. What do you guys think?
I think it's called a classic car, and you can buy them readily at any auction in your local area.
These are new parts, though. This is a whole new make and model. You're not understanding.
Why not just get a 1970s car or a 60s car? You can.
You don't understand. It's a dumb car for smart people because you got to be kind of smart to work on it. But that's the slogan. So that's as far as we got on
10 grand. Just go to your auction. You can get
this
a nice
is like such a good example of you being like a great idealist, Jesse, but not necessarily the follow through on it.
Listen, it's like when you talk to people like, oh, what do you do for a living? A consultant? I mean, that's it. Like I could tell people what I think they should do, you know, but does it just stop there? You just consult and tell them, you know, I think maybe I should have been a consultant.
You still can. You're not retired.
Yeah, that's true. because I just don't like the doing.
Right.
Would you be a consultant for Ford, and instead of convincing them to be a narc, you could convince them to make dumb cars for smart people?
Yes, I think it's a fantastic idea.
I, as a professional speeder, do not like this idea of the road being full of a bunch of tattletales.
Oh, I'm going to go to jail if they make this real.
However, I have that strong justice side, and if I'm actually choosing to go the speed limit and like somebody like speeds by me on the shoulder and we're in stop and go traffic or whatever, I'm narking all day long. So like I want the Ford car, I just don't want to be subjected to the Ford car. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to have that power, but I don't want it used on me. So
here's the thing. I'm fine with it if we're like within like city limits or something like that. But if I'm like driving on the highway, don't narc on me. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's fine. Let me go the speed I want to go. Again, I say this also as like a professional speeder. My dad told me I had like a lead foot once because it's like kind of hard for me to like actually go the speed limit, but it's just, this is dangerous for me.
Florida is right now considering legislation that will make it illegal to go the speed limit in the left lane, in the fast lane. Like,
good.
If you're wanting to go at or below the speed limit, you cannot drive in the left lane and you will get pulled over and ticketed for going the speed limit on the left lane. I'm like, that is the sort of legislation we need to advocate for.
Yeah, like, I'm okay if Ford wants to narc on those people because I agree with that. But don't, unless I'm in the left lane and I'm going a little too over the speed limit, then don't narc on me. Like I need like a balance there.
Right.
I think we just need less narking, like just each their own.
Actually, I feel like Jesse, you would like this because your lifelong goal is to like be a part of a citizen's arrest one day, right?
No, he's a libertarian. The each his own. He wants to like be left alone. He'll leave people alone.
I want to be full Autobahn. Like Germany.
I agree.
They know. If you don't like it, take the back roads. Sorry.
All right. So Ford is patenting technology to tattle on all the other drivers. So if you drive a Ford, no, you will have no friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's just a patent at this point. I don't think they're implementing it, but it's concerning that some nerd over there even thought of it.
Yeah, I actually do want to know who. I'm sure they probably had a good reason, but
public safety would be the overriding reason.
Ugh, lame, boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, all right. What do you have, Emily?
Speaking of intelligence, there was a new survey that came out last week about the smartest cities in America. So the criteria looked at infrastructure, sustainability, and the tech job market to determine intelligence. So
smartest meaning like smart lights, not intelligence.
Yes,
not like the population.
Not like
is
the population is smart. Yeah.
It's not like Camden, Massachusetts, or whatever. Okay, got it.
So that's what it is. Before I really answer, what do you guys think the smartest city in the U.S. is?
Oh, it'd be like a booming new metro, like Austin, Phoenix, Orlando.
Or Boston has like MIT and Harvard.
But they have old school buildings and stuff and infrastructure. They wouldn't be able to be like a smart city. Like I think it's like new build, exploding metro area. Austin, Phoenix, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or somewhere outside of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Okay. So Austin is number 3. Miami is number 2. And then Seattle is number 1.
Oh.
Which those all make sense. However, I wanted to bring this up because I saw this going around on Twitter, and this is a really good example of people being pretty illiterate online because people did take it to mean not like a smart city. They thought this survey was about the smartest cities in America, like by population, like who's the most intelligent. And so then people were just kind of making fun of Seattle, Miami, and Austin for like, there's a lot of really dumb people that live there. And I just was enjoying it because I was like, you guys are arguing about nothing that's actually happening. Like they're talking about sustainability and stuff. And I don't know. I always just like to point out that the internet is not that smart because again, as we said, I'm always right and the internet is always wrong. So that's really what I want to do.
It feels like a Jerry Seinfeld bit about like, what's so smart about the smart car? Kind of a thing. Like,
exactly what it was.
I will say this. If you were selling the dumb car for smart people, I would expect that to be wildly popular in those cities,
those cities are all about like their roads recharge the electric cars and like whatever. It's all innovation. They don't want dumb cars.
The core customer base is like, no, we need this. Like we got too much. Again, I've railed on smart tech for too long. The residents of those cities, no, you need a break. You need to be able to work on something. Again, if any of this smart stuff breaks, you can't just open. I'm going to sound like an old person, but like
You already do.
when we were growing up, like you would take a run at fixing anything before you got a new one. Like the VCR or TV broke, it was like, let me just give this thing a shot, right? And you could open the tube TV and be like, oh, it just needs a new bulb or whatever, or you can see the burns in the circuit. Good luck with a flat screen now. You might as well just toss it aside. I'm just saying, I think there's a market in those cities. That's all.
Apple started it, like you couldn't like replace the battery on your iPhone and you couldn't repair your own thing. And then they got sued for the right to repair, and they lost. I mean, so now you can legally get third-party companies to fix your Apple devices, whereas before they had it locked down. You had to upgrade or had to pay them to do it. Society is loosening up, Jesse. They're listening to you.
Good.
Keep fighting your fight. All right. That'll do it for Slices. We got a packed show today, so we got to keep it moving. All right. Stay tuned. Up next, David Kushner joins us. You're listening to Khalid. It's his new single, Heat Stroke, which a lot of people in the Southwest have had this summer. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times bestselling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose the Barbarian Way. Available now wherever books are sold. Well, our guest today is David Kushner. He's a singer-songwriter who's blown up over the last couple of years with songs like Daylight and Miserable Man going viral and getting billions of streams. He's gearing up to release his debut album later this year, so we wanted to sit down and talk about his story, his new music, and the surprising fact that faith has played a massive role in his life and his art. Here's our conversation with David Kushner.
The same vibe. Oh, I love it and I hate it at the same time. Hiding all of our sins from the daylight, from the daylight, running from the daylight, from the daylight, running from the daylight. Oh, I love it and I hate it at the same time.
Well, you've had a pretty big few years with multiple songs taking over TikTok. You've headlined your own tour. Just kind of a lot of big things have been happening. But I want to go back to the beginning. When did you first know that you wanted to pursue music?
I think as a child, I always loved like creative hobbies and always loved singing. My brother was in a band. My sisters all did classical piano lessons like 3 times a week with a teacher. So I was always around music. And then I started to be invested in different types of artists all through middle school and then high school, and just like from hip hop to folk to pop. And yeah, so very invested in the artist, and I would sing all the time for fun. And then once I graduated high school, I didn't want to go to college, so I was working just a job with my father, and he owned a small business, and I was just helping him on the side since I didn't want to go to school. And I got a vocal coach, and I paid for the vocal lessons using the money I would work that I would work for with my dad that I would receive. And yeah, started going to a vocal coach once a week in Chicago. And I knew that there was a lot to learn, and I just kept doing it for like the next, 5 years at this point. And then I started writing my own songs. And then once I started trying to write my own songs and just seeing just what I could create and how much my mind loved it, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and I knew that it's what God wanted me to do, and I believe it's the calling He has on my life. And yeah, it just kind of like I was just always pushed to music. It kind of just happened. It seemed like just outside of myself.
Hello, hello, are you lonely? I'm sorry, it's just the chemicals. Hello, hello, do you know me? I'm called Mr. Forgettable.
You said you feel like God has led you to music, or really to this moment. So tell me a little bit more about your faith journey. Did you grow up in church?
Yeah, I didn't really grow up in a predominant like Christian household. My mom was the biggest influence. She was in the Salvation Army growing up like her whole life. So she was in the Salvation Army, and my dad never. It wasn't too much of a faith influence as far as the gospel from my dad in any way. But we would do like devotions with my mom like sometimes, and we would all go to church as like a creaster kind of traditional Christmas, Easter, kind of timeline, but not for the reason of like wanting to know who Jesus is, and like what is the gospel about, like what does this mean for us, like, and understanding each like book of the Bible and what this means for us today, and like there was none of that. And yeah, it wasn't until after high school. It all happened very similarly to when I was starting to take music seriously, and I kind of just had this big existential like crisis is how I explain it. And it was a really stressful time. I got like really depressed, and it was this thought of this like fear of death, and I was just thinking all of these big questions of like my purpose and like where all of this music stuff was leading, like what are my intentions, like like just what is my purpose objectively, like is there a purpose objectively that we like are commanded to follow our best, or but basically, long story short, I just kind of realized I didn't really know who Jesus was, and I started to dive into this huge just like self like pursuance. I just started pursuing the Lord, and I started reading my word. I was really fascinated with like different philosophical topics, like not even just like like just the gospel, or just like what the gospel means, and who is Jesus, what did he do for us. Like it wasn't even just that surface level. Like I dug even deeper. I went like so philosophical with it, but I just loved it. Like things that didn't even pertain to Christianity, just even understanding other faiths and like just comparing them to the story of Christ and like what this means. Like and just the validity I always like was so curious and fascinated by, and just like the reliability of the Gospels. Like I love all of that. I love so many different theologians that I could name off, and just, yeah. So that's kind of how it started, and it just kind of shook my world, and it just kind of led me to really realizing that, you know, like that this life it's bigger than like flesh and blood, I guess, to say the least, and that there's like this immaterial reality, I guess. And I was just very fascinated by it all. And I'd really accredit it to like the Holy Spirit, and just like regardless of how like sufferable that time was, and like depressing, and all those thoughts of death, and like, yeah, and just how depressing that period was. It was from like end of 2019 to like the middle summer of 2020. It's kind of when it ended. Thankfully to God that it all ended, and I kind of got back on track emotionally, and with the anxiety and just all the things that I was thinking about. But it was all for a purpose, right? So it was all, you know, I asked God for strength, and He gave me those hard questions, you know, to figure out about my life, and, you know, and then it made me to rely on His strength, and not like my own understanding of the world. But in doing so, I realized my purpose, and, you know, my purpose is to love God and Jesus, and to spread that information when the opportunity proposes itself, you know, and for the right time. So
all we wanted was a place to feel like home. That's why we parted from our ways to heal our soul. I'm a small town miserable man that does what he can.
Well, it's very clear that your faith has transformed your life, but I'm curious, how would you say your faith impacts your music and your songwriting?
Yeah. I mean, it impacts it in, you know, probably like the largest way, just ever since I started, like the kind of the origin story that I gave you, and just always knowing that it was like this thing outside of me, and yeah, I always questioned it, you know, like, you know, well, is music really, like, God, is this really what you want me to do? And you know, obviously being humble before it, and just asking God, like, is this really what you want me to do, though? And, you know, and so many times, countless times, there's just so much confirmation that this is what I should do, and I knew that this is what He wanted me to do, and, you know, it obviously shows just through my songs and just through the different meanings that I would write about. But yeah, as far as music and just the inspiration and with my faith, yeah, I mean, there's so many parts in my songs, like my song Miserable Man, like that was my first song off of my project, my first project, Footprints, I found, is the name of the project. So I'll kind of set up the songs where like anyone can listen to them, you know, because my biggest philosophy was when I started my career was like, okay, like, I don't want to like always be like preaching to the choir, you know, like how do I make songs in a way where it's like I can attract other people who like, you know, are resistant of stepping into a church, or just, you know, people who don't like search up Christian music, you know, in quotations per se. And so I kind of would structure my songs just as like a normal song about like, you know, two individuals, like a relationship struggle they're going through or something. But I would also tie in my faith like in the chorus, you know, or in the hook. And Miserable Man, that's what the biggest section of where it's influenced with my faith is the chorus, where the meaning of that chorus is like, all we wanted was a place to feel like home. That's why we parted from our ways to heal our souls. So I wrote that about the two individuals in the song of the whole storyline chronologically. So that chorus with them was just meaning like they kind of left all they knew, and they also left kind of their like old selves once they found the Lord, and, you know, in pursuit to like heal their souls, you know, and just, you know, the sanctification process, and, you know, all about that. And so that's kind of what the chorus means for the people within the song, of just like the narrative that I wrote about, but also for me of just when I found the Lord, you know, it was just like how I explained earlier, like when I found out the truth of the gospel and Jesus, it just like changed everything. And yeah, it was just like my soul was starting to heal, you know, from all of the crippling fears of death and just life. And the way I also explained it, it's like during that time, it was like I couldn't even trust the fabric of reality. Like I couldn't even go out. I couldn't drive anywhere because it's like, oh, if all of this is an accident, it's like, dang, like it just, life is so uncertain. It's so like meaningless, you know? And those are the dark thoughts that kind of really spiraled the depression and like all of those anxious thoughts that I was thinking that just started all of that. But yeah, so that's like Miserable Man. And then, you know, I have so much off this new album that I'm working on that is about my faith. And I mean, like the entire project, you know, and just what this new album is called that I'm releasing this month is, you know, about my faith. But I also structured it in a way where, you know, it's like the album's for everyone, you know, like my music is for everyone. And yeah, and I think it's amazing because, you know, there's so many times where I'm like at my shows and I'm at my meet and greet and people ask me about my lyrics and like my faith, and they're like, I love like how you present your faith, like with your music and just who you are, and just like it really, you know, helps me come back to God because I was so bitter at God because of this and that. And yeah, and they're just like, I just love when you talk about your faith in Jesus because you just do it in a way where, you know, it's not kind of how a lot of, I feel like, you know, church hurt and stuff will go with people and they'll become resentful and kind of run away from it. And I would say all of that, you know, just my faith is embedded in like all my lyrics, and yeah, that's just always where it starts and ends, you know. But it's kind of like I've just started to become close with the rapper like NF, you know, so he lives in Nashville, and I was hanging out with him and I was kind of talking to him about it. And yeah, it's just kind of like, you know, I'm not like, you know, a Christian worship kind of like artist per se, but, you know, and it's kind of the way I say it, it's like if a plumber comes to your house, you know, but if they believe in Jesus, they're not going to like, they don't brand themselves maybe as like a Christian plumber. It's like, no, they're just a plumber, but if you ask them about their faith, like they're also a Christian, you know, like, but, you know, it's just overall at the end of the day, it's like I'm an artist, but like I love incorporating my faith and just making it a place for everybody.
Inside of your story, I was a hero, but you get the glory. Now I'm the villain inside of your story. I was the same, you used to adore me. Now I'm the villain inside of your story.
That was David Kushner. Make sure to check out his latest single, Sweet Oblivion, wherever you get your music. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's the Relevant Podcast Olympics. You're listening to Snail Mail. The song is Tonight, Tonight. I think that's a cover. Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by the new book, Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic. Author Jonathan Seidel knows firsthand how even believers can get stuck in shame and destructive habits, especially when it comes to one of society's biggest obsessions, alcohol. In Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic, he details his spiral into disordered drinking and shares the 4-step process he eventually used to break free. There's hope for alcoholics who become Christians and for Christians who become alcoholics. Find Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic wherever books are sold. What if you could change a child's life with just $10? Right now, thousands of vulnerable children in East Africa are suffering from jiggers. It's a painful, preventable parasite that burrows into their feet. Soul Hope is the only organization treating it through foot washing, medical care, and durable closed-toed shoes that protect kids long after treatment. $10 may not seem like much in today's world, but when we come together, those small gifts add up to big change. Join the 10 for 10 campaign. $10 protects 10 small toes. Visit soulhope.org/10 to give now. One small gift makes a big difference. Again, that's soulhope, SOLE, hope.org/TEN. Okay, it's time for...
It's the Relevant Podcast Olympics!
The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. As we move into week 2 of the Relevant Podcast Olympics, our competitors have only grown in familiarity with the highs and lows of competition on this global stage, where their endurance, skill, and speed are put to the ultimate test. This week, our athletes from Virginia Beach and Nashville will face off against each other in 3 more events to see who will rise to achieve the lasting glory of the gold in the Relevant Podcast Olympics. All right, here's the first event. It's called Secret Word. It's basically the password tiebreaker. So I'm going to basically have a word in front of me. I'm going to give over 30 seconds. I'm going to give incrementally 1-word clues about what the actual secret word is. The sooner you correctly guess the word, the more points will be awarded. So it's the first one to say it. If you say the wrong answer, that's your one shot. You're out. The other opponent can take it from you. So it's going to, the first one I'll say will be 10 points, then 8 points, 6, 4, and 2. Here we go. First hint. You guys ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Bird. Second clue. Predator.
Falcon.
Hoot.
Oh, owl.
Owl is correct. Emily gets the points for 6 points. Emily gets 6 points. Here we go. All right, second word. We only got 3, so here we go. Second word. Celebrity.
Robert Kennedy Jr.
Woman.
Cheryl Hines.
Shut up. Musician.
Taylor Swift.
No. Formation.
Beyonce.
Yes, Beyonce is the word. There you go. Jesse gets 4 points. All right, last one for this event is company.
Peter Luger's.
Shut up. Website.
Google.
Social media.
Facebook.
Oh, you're getting all these wrong. You're not supposed to keep going. Poke.
Facebook.
Facebook.
Meta.
That is correct. Facebook. Facebook is it. For 4 points. So coming out of round 1, Emily has 10 points. Jesse has 4 points. Next event. It's called Karaoke Superstar. Each contestant will be able to pick one song from our song bank and sing 20-ish seconds of that song. You'll be judged by your accuracy, gusto, and enthusiasm, which I think is redundant with gusto. All right. So I'm sending over in the chat, I'm sending over the song list, and then you'll choose your own song and you'll be judged individually, just like kind of like your floor routine. You know, there's gymnastics, like the difficulty level and how well you executed it and all that kind of stuff. Lots of factors going on here. So Emily, you are up first. Choose your song.
I mean, so many great songs on here. I'm not even going to try to do Adele. I'll do Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again.
Let's hear it.
Oops, I did again. Here, just for the listener, in case you haven't heard it, here's what it sounds like.
Oh, baby, baby, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh, baby, baby.
All right, take it away, Emily.
Okay. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh, baby, baby, oops, you think I'm in love, that I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent. That's all you're getting out of me.
Not bad.
pretty
Not
good.
bad.
Thank
Not
you.
bad.
Whew, I hope I did Brittany justice. If you hear this, Brittany, love you, girl.
I think we each do 2. Do one more.
Oh,
Emily.
God. Okay, you have to go next then.
Okay. Well, no. Let's hear. I want to hear both, so I have something to calibrate here.
I like that your competitor is telling you the new
Yeah.
rules. So, But I agree. The judges totally condone Jesse changing the rules mid-competition. I love it.
Give me
Okay,
one more.
well, I will-
while I calibrate.
I will butcher this, absolutely, but I will do
Okay.
Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody.
All right.
Okay,
Let's
good.
hear it.
For-
Here's a clip of it for the listener. All right, take it away, Emily.
First off, I'm so sorry, Whitney. Here we go.
She's dead. She can't hear you.
I know, but I still have to apologize. Okay. Oh, I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I want to dance with somebody who loves me. There we go.
Okay.
After hearing that, I'm sorry, guys. I I in fact had no intention of doing mine. I just wanted to do
that's
the
what I was
other
gonna do.
So rude.
I was gonna be like, I was doing the same thing, Jesse.
I'm like that pommel horse guy.
Yeah, just
who
bail.
like sees a lot of like events that he's like, I ain't got any shot at that.
Yep,
Put me on
just
the pommel
walks
horse.
away. Just walks away.
I might take home a silver.
I knew
but
it.
otherwise, you guys know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, yeah.
America's
Steve.
New Hero.
Yeah.
He looks at like 90% of gymnastic stuff. He's like, nope, not even going to try. Not even going to give it a shot. I'm only going to do the one I'm not going to embarrass myself on. And so that's my strategy.
Yep.
I can't believe I fell for it.
I was going to do the same thing. I was going to maybe push her to a third one,
Steve,
but yeah.
I
Oh my
Steve
God,
Pommel Horse
absolutely
guided.
not.
Steve Pommel Horse guided. You see
See,
something
here's the
and
thing.
just know.
I should have picked my own song because my go-to karaoke song, which I'm not going to sing, you will not trick me into this. But I really love the song Malibu by Miley Cyrus. And so I have sang that at karaoke multiple times. But it's not worth it. I can't believe you tricked me.
How does that go? I don't even
You
know
can
that
play
song.
it yourself. I'm not falling for this trick. I've learned.
All right, last competition. It's the star-studded sports showdown. Celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Kevin Hart, Flavor Flav, and more, many more, have played a big role in this year's Olympics. So this game is dedicated to the familiar faces in the crowd. The rules are simple. Each contestant is given a celebrity they must impersonate while describing a specific scenario. Points will be awarded based on creativity, accuracy, humor, and gusto. All right, so I'm just going to randomly give these to you. Emily, you're up first.
I'm so nervous.
What would it sound like for Morgan Freeman to narrate a gymnastics routine?
Okay. I can't do his voice. Like, you gave me the deepest voice possible. Okay. And now we have Simone Biles pulling up to the beam, and here she does her. I have no idea the terminology at all. I really should know this more. She's sticking the landing and perfect tens across the board. There you go.
I like that you said that she was pulling up to the beam as
Yeah,
if like
I realized-
an Uber was dropping her off before going to the uneven bars.
I realized as I was saying, I was like, this is far from the correct terminology at all. I guess walking up would be the. Yeah.
Have you watched
Okay.
any gymnastics during the Olympics?
Yeah, but I feel like I don't pay
They don't
attention to
even
what they
walk
actually
on it.
say.
They run and flip to the next event.
Jesse, first, have you watched any of this? How is America so bad at 3-on-3 basketball? Like, we didn't even qualify. We were like the worst team in the world. We
You know,
invented the game.
Truly.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I could do a whole podcast because I listened to quite a few. I read up and listened to interviews with like Jim Fredette leading up to this. And, leading into the tournament, they were the number 2 ranked team in the world. Like, they play against those same teams all the time. And other than Serbia, they kind of dominate, but they just fell apart in the Olympics.
They had a win and get in game yesterday as we're recording this, and they lost 21-6.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world?
But the thing about 3-on-3 rules are, like the first game, well, I don't know if this can be interesting to anyone other than 3-on-3 nerds, but the first game they had a bad foul called on them, which if you foul and turn the ball over, if you get down by a couple in 3-on-3, the score isn't always telling because like if you get down early, you have to shoot twos because the point differential between a 2 and a 1 is so much bigger than a 3 and a 2. So like losing 21-6 doesn't necessarily mean you got blown out. It just means we got down early and only had to shoot twos. Like there's a lot of like game theory in 3-on-3. All that to say is reading and listening to so much leading up to the 3-on-3 tournament about how much USA had put in. I think they overthought the whole tournament. They had, because they did training camps. They sought out like certain skill specialists. And it just didn't translate in the Olympics, though they're still leading into it. They were like the number 2 ranked 3-on-3 squad in the world.
Literally, Conan and I were watching it yesterday, and I'm like, this is so weird because like I could just go down to LA Fitness and grab 3 dudes who would beat Ukraine in 3-on-3 basketball. I mean,
But to be in fairness to the USA guys, the strategy for that 3-on-3 is wildly different than that. Even the court The court is a composite material. It's not wood. So you can't take people off the dribble. Like you can't, like, there's no like dribble, get, you know what I mean?
I don't care. They can go down to the city park off the concrete and grab 3 guys. Like,
I'm just saying, I'm not making excuses for Team USA.
It was embarrassingly confusing. That's the thing, is like, this doesn't make any sense with our population that plays 3-on-3 basketball. Why did we pick those 3 guys? You know what I mean? Like, it just.
Well,
anyway.
To answer the question, it was for specific skill sets. But my thing is, they just overthought it. And NBA players aren't an option. NBA players aren't going to do it. Like active.
Yeah, but we
NBA
have a whole league called the Big 3 of like retired NBA guys and other.
Yeah, but I don't think they would. I don't think those guys are in the physical prime of their.
Okay,
effort.
then how many thousands of top tier college players can't crack the NBA? They're in the G League or something like that, and they would thrive at a 3-on-3 tournament because they're at the peak physical age. They're grinders. They're and they just didn't make the league yet. Anyway, I turned it. You've seen the memes of like, out of shape, middle-aged guys eating snacks on the couch, like pointing out, like critiquing these athletes for not, blah, blah. That was me. That's me watching the Olympics. Like, how dare, blah, 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 blah. Like I'm an expert in this now.
I would say this, listen to Jimmer Fredette's interview for a couple of weeks ago on the Rosillo podcast, and you get a deep appreciation for 3-on-3. Anyway, you want me to do Owen Wilson visiting the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, you're up. I was about to throw it to you.
Wow, look at that. It's the Eiffel Tower. Wow.
Well, that's pretty good.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
All right, round one's going to Jesse. Round one,
absolutely.
definitely Jesse. Jesse got the point. All right, round 2. I sent you all the thing. You can pick who you want to be, Emily. So go for it.
Oh God, these are all great options here. I'll do Matthew McConaughey critiques a diving competition.
Going with the Texas. I like it.
Yeah, we'll see if that works, if that helps me at all. I don't think it will. All right. We got the next swimmer coming up here to the diving board.
You pulled out. You like you were coming in. You were coming in a little strong. Like she's gonna take it there, and then she said, "You know what? I'm gonna pull back." Like you started strong in the race, and you burned too hot too fast.
I will do Arnold Schwarzenegger cheers at breakdance. Get down, you idiots! Get to the chopper. The bridge is out. I forgot to mention.
He doesn't understand what get downs mean. Get down.
The breakdance competition is under attack.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, and also they get down when they're breakdancing. They get down. So I thought that he was coaching. I thought this.
No. It was under attack by robots
under attack
from the future.
He misunderstood what getting down meant. Yeah. Okay. All right, Emily. Last one. Jesse won that one as well. All right, Emily. Last one.
I'll do David Attenborough narrates a day in the Olympic Village.
Do not talk about.
Oh my God, I wasn't.
Well, that's what the animals do when he's narrating. They're,
all right, let's hear it, Emily.
The plumes and the birds,
now you
mating.
just threw me off my game. Okay. We come up on a young Olympic athlete.
I said no.
Oh my gosh. Approaching the buffet line to get a delicious chocolate muffin.
I said no. Oh. I thought these were euphemisms. Sorry.
I don't think I can go on.
Yeah, I think we're done. We're done.
Jesse, take us home.
I'm Jesse Carey.
No. Pick your last one.
Yeah, you're not getting out of this like you did the last round.
Let's see.
Christopher Walken coaches the women's rugby team would be pretty good.
Christopher Walken. The thing about rugby, it's a sport. But here's the thing about the sport. They're always hitting and running. Why can't they not hit each other? It's pretty good, right? I haven't watched a Christopher Walken movie in a long time. I feel like that's reasonably close.
I feel like he was in the room with us.
Yeah, I was inspired. Yeah. I've watched a lot of rugby, first of all, and I've been texting friends like, why is rugby so much more entertaining than football? And
how dare you?
And it is. Have you watched any rugby? It is so much more entertaining than watching football.
I have. I just don't like how they throw it. Like they're like, it's like how I would throw if I had like a watermelon. I'd be like
a turkey. Yeah, you got a big old
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
I just don't like it. It's just very disorienting. I only like sports where you throw overhand. Sorry, call me crazy.
It is very entertaining watching rugby.
Yes.
Anyway. All right. Christopher Walken was right. All right. That will do it for the closing ceremonies of the Relevant Podcast Olympics.
It's the Relevant Podcast Olympics!
Well, before we wrap up, I want to thank David Kushner for joining us today. Make sure to check out his latest single, Sweet Oblivion. Follow him on TikTok, all the platforms, and make sure to keep your eye out for his debut album coming out this year. Hey, check out issue 115 of Relevant. Our digital issue is out now. You can read all the features for free at relevantmagazine.com. Just click on the magazine tab. You'll find our sit down with Letitia Wright, Carl Lentz, hard-hitting story, that one. Local natives, Colony House, Jude and the Lion, Maya Moore, so much more. It's all available right there at the website. If you want the beautifully designed digital magazine enhanced experience, you can get it with Relevant Plus. You can sign up right there on the website. Plans start as low as $250 a month. You get the magazine, you get unlimited ad-free reading at the website, and you get an ad-free version of this podcast plus more. It's the best way to experience our content. I think you'll like it. All right, on that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
We will see you on Friday. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Relevant Podcast Network.